Hi, Elaine here. countryhomeandheart.net is my website. And I suppose you noticed that I am not in my kitchen today. That's because I am not going to be cooking. We're doing a cooking video today because it is 94 degrees outside, very humid and hot, and it looks like we may be headed for a storm. I'm not sure. I keep hearing thunder rumbling in the background, and you may hear that too. So anyway, I decided instead of doing a cooking video, I am here in my sewing room, and we're going to be making a jelly roll quilt top today. I'm going to show you how to do that. They are very simple, and if you're new to sewing and you can't do anything more than just sew a straight line, that's all you need to know how to do for this particular quilt. It is very, very easy to make. It goes together very quickly, and it is also a very fun quilt to make. So you make a jelly roll quilt by using these jelly rolls. And what these are, this is a package of 20 strips, and it takes 40 of them, so I need 2 of these packs to make my jelly roll quilt top today, because it takes 40 strips to make it. If you've never seen a jelly roll quilt, I do have some pictures on my website of some jelly roll quilts that I have made, and what they are is they're just strips of fabric, and they have the little diagonal slashes in them. They're very nice quilts, very cute. And I have never really made one for myself. All the jelly roll quilts that I have made, I've given away, and so this one is going to be for me. Our den tends to get pretty cold in the winter months, and so it'll be nice to have a quilt to wrap up in. These are just throw size quilts. They're not going to be a bed size quilt. They might fit on a twin bed. I'm not sure about that because I don't have a twin bed to check it on, but typically it just makes a nice throw size, so just perfect for wrapping up in on a cold night. But I'm going to turn you around and show you my sewing machine. Let me turn this down a little bit. There we go. And make that a little bigger. Okay. And there is my sewing machine. This is a Sears Kenmore that I got back in the early 90s. It has been a regular little workhorse. I have made my daughter's wedding gown on it. I've made furnishings for my home. I've made curtains. You name it, I pretty much have made it on this machine, and it just keeps right on going. It's a regular little workhorse. It doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles. I have a few decorative stitches down here that I can use if I like. And of course it's got my zigzag and stretch stitches that I can use for different things. And I'm also going to be using, see, I don't know if you can see back here, I'm going to be using a walking foot to make this quilt. And what the walking foot does is it allows the fabric to feed through evenly, because it sort of walks along as opposed to staying stationary like a regular presser foot would do, and allows the fabric to go through smoothly. And so I will be using my walking foot today on this quilt top. And okay, so we're going to get started. Can we turn you back around? Okay, there we go. Now what I have done is I've taken, these are my strips, and I am making a, this one's going to be all neutral colors, different colors of tans and beiges, and going from light to dark. And so it's going to be, I think it'll be a nice quilt, and it'll match in my my den really well. So what I have done is, I don't know if you can see this part right here, but what I have done on these 40 roll strips is I have cut the selvages off. And let me turn you around and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So hold on just 1 minute. Okay. And we're going to bring that a little closer so you can see. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, I'm going to turn the camera off and get this set, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. Sometimes you can't really get it adjusted right when you're trying to zoom in on these things like this. And okay, well, this is my rotary cutter, and this is typically what I use when I'm quilting. And I have my cutting board, and I have my ruler. And what I'm going to do is take this jelly roll strip, and I'm going to put my ends together on right sides together. And I'm just going to put my ends together so that I can see that selvage real good. And I'm going to put it right underneath, put it on my cutting board right underneath that ruler. And I am going to take my rotary cutter, and I am just going to cut that end off just like that. So now I have the selvages off, and what this does is when we sew these together, we're going to be taking right sides together, and we're going to be sewing, putting them together like this and sewing just down at an angle like that. So because we're going to be sewing at an angle, taking these selvages off will help me make sure that I have that lined up correctly. And that's all that will do, is make that a little easier. And I have done all 40 of my strips already. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the top strip, okay, and I'm going to measure off 18 inches. So there's my 18-inch mark right there. And let me turn that down. You can't see. Okay. Move that up a little bit too. I think that might help. Okay, so right here, get this set. Right here is my 18-inch mark. And you still can't see, can you? Good grief. See if we can fix that. Okay. All right. There's my 18-inch mark. So I'm going to take my cutter. Let me just pull this up here so you can see it a little better. All right, I'm going to take my ruler, and I'm just going to put it right along that 18-inch line. And I am just going to cut right here with my rotary cutter and cut this piece off. Now this piece is scrap. We won't need to use that. So we will be using this piece that's left. Okay, whoops, let me turn that the other way. Okay, and what that will do is that will keep our quilt lines staggered instead of having them like a row on either side. This is going to keep our quilt line nice and staggered so that those little diagonal marks that we're going to have really stand out and they show up nice. So, okay, so I'm going to turn the camera off and set up over here, and we'll be back. Okay, I'm back, and what I have been doing is sewing these ends together at the angle, at that 45-degree angle coming right across. And you can see I've got one under here that I have started. So what I'm going to do is, while I'm still on the end of that, I'm going to take this one, we're going to put right sides together. So here's the end of this piece that's in the machine right now, and it is going to go right there. And let me grab another. Okay, I have another piece right here, and I am going to turn this one the other way. So you see that one is going horizontally and one is going down vertically. I'm going to take my angle, take my corner, and I'm going to put it very close, right up under there, as close as I can get it. And make sure my ends are together, and they are. Okay, and we're just going to sew. Okay, and we're going to come down and sew that at the same angle, right down. Okay, I'm down to the end on that one, so I'm going to take the same strip that's in the machine, put the right side together, and let's see, what color do I want? Let's get a lighter color one this time. Okay, and I'm going to take this one and right sides together and do the same thing. I'm going to bring them one horizontally, one vertically, right under my machine there. Make sure I have my ends lined up, and we're going to sew right down and make that 45-degree angle, just like that. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing this, and when I get my whole string together, I will be right back with you, and I'll show you what we're going to do after that. Okay, I am back, and I have all these sewn together, and let me turn you down here a little bit so you can see. Okay, and what I am doing at this point is I'm cutting apart where I had these sewn together like, let me find, yeah, see how this is right here? Almost like a little flag. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting these little threads here that are holding these together like that. And then I am trimming off the piece right here where I sewed at my angle. Let me get this to where you can see. Where I sewed across at my angle. And I'm going to clip that corner right off of this, just like that. And then it should open up like that. Okay, and so here's another corner. Let me clip this corner right here so you can see. Okay, and we're getting there. Here's another one I missed. Let me get this one clipped off. Okay, and one more thing I am going to show you before I turn the camera off again is, see the way this is right here, the way I have sewn these kind of together. I would stop at one corner and then pick up at another corner, and so that I get this all sewn together like this. What that does is that actually conserves your thread. You're not using anywhere near as much thread when you do that. So, and then all you have to do is clip them apart. Now when I get all these clipped apart and trimmed, what I'm going to end up with, let me turn this up so I can talk to you. What I'm going to end up with is a 1600-inch strip like that. And I will show you when we get done here what we're going to do with that and how this is actually going to come together in a quilt top. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I have this all trimmed off, and all these little pieces like that are all trimmed off. And what I'm going to do now is take both ends. Like I said, this is one long 1600-inch strip. So we're going to take both ends and put the ends together, right sides together, and I'm going to just sew a straight seam all the way down so that by the time I finish, instead of it being 1600 inches, it's only going to be 800 inches. And I will show you what we're going to do after I get that sewing done. So let me just show you how I'm going to start this. So I'm going to turn you around and bring you up a little closer so you can see my machine a little better. There we go. Okay. So I have my ends together. I'm going to give myself a little, give this thing a little spider to start with so that it can get started. Like I say, it's always good to give your machine a little something to eat before you actually start sewing, so that that'll come, so that you can get that fed through there a little bit easier, to start. And then also make sure that your seam is sewn all the way across, all the way down to the end, instead of having a little end that might be frayed. So, okay, let's get started. So we're just going to bring that together, and we're going to make a 1/4-inch seam. And there's our 1/4-inch seam, and I have right sides together. I just want to double check that. Yep, I do have my right sides together. Okay, because I have started sewing these before and had the wrong sides together, so We don't want to do that again. So, okay, and I'm just going to make a 1/4-inch seam. And with this foot, if I have my thread right, my material right alongside the edge of this presser foot, this walking foot, that will be my 1/4-inch seam. Okay, so we're just going to sew straight down. Okay, and when I get to the end of this, I'm going to turn the camera back on and show you how we're going to finish it off. Okay, I have gotten to the end of my fabric, and I cut across the bottom so that I can finish the seam. And we're going to do that right now. And there we have it. Okay, now the next step we're going to do, whoops, get this, rid of this. We're going to open this up. This is 800 inches of fabric now that we've got this down to. But what we're going to do is we're going to open this up. First of all, I'm going to cut this little end off here where we made our spider. Okay, and we're going to open this up just like that, all the way down. And we're going to find the other end. See, there's how it's starting. This is really a nice looking quilt when you get it done, quilt top, and as you will see when I get it finished here. But we're going to open up the seam that we just put in. It'll take me a moment to get to it, because it's still very, very long. And when I get down to this other end, we're going to open the other end up. As soon as I find the other end, my goodness. There is the other end. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this other end up like this. And then we are going to put the right sides together like this and begin sewing again. And I will show you real quick here. So we'll be putting in another seam right along this edge here. And then when we open it up, we're going to have 4 rows like that. We'll have 4 rows together, and we're going to keep doing that until we get the right amount for our quilt, the right size for our quilt. So I'm going to take a break from this right now and go fix us something to eat and get my dogs fed, and I'll be back to finish this up with you in a little while. Be back soon.